guys? Welcome to Back to the Drawing Board with Soddy and Dan. I'm Soddy. I will be your host in today's episode. Thank you so much for stopping by. Now guys, if you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell so you can be notified when our latest episodes are out. But first of all, I'm going to start off with Mike D'Antoni leaving the Houston Rockets. Mike D'Antoni has told Houston, we have liftoff because I'm up on out of here. He is leaving the Houston Rockets after 4 seasons, an incredible 4 seasons to be honest. Now we already have heard that Mike D'Antoni possibly be going to the Philadelphia 76ers, which for me personally, I think that'll be a good move for the Sixers, as in, to be honest, probably suits his system more than it did for Harden and Westbrook, obviously. You could almost have a Phoenix Suns-esque type of run and gun offense. Obviously, their point guard can't shoot threes, but doesn't mean the players around him can't shoot threes. They have a center that can stretch. I think that would be a good situation for Mike D'Antoni, in my opinion, that is. I don't know what anybody else's opinion. I'd love to know what people's opinion about Mike D'Antoni, 1, leaving the Houston Rockets, and 2, heading over to the Philadelphia 76ers if it is true. But it's not about Mike D'Antoni in this moment. It's about the Houston Rockets. What does it mean for them moving forward? And what have they lost in Mike D'Antoni? A few things are going to pop up on your screen right now. I'm going to go through a few things that Mike D'Antoni has achieved in the last 4 years as NBA head coach with the Houston Rockets. Obviously, his record, 217 wins, 102 losses in 4 seasons. Made it, I've just said before, made it to 1 Western Conference Finals and 3 times to the conference semifinals. He's actually had the highest winning percentage over the 4 seasons in the Western Conference at 68%, trailing the Raptors at 69.5%, as I said before. Only 3 other teams have a better winning percentage or better record than Antonio's run in the last 4 years, which is Golden State, Boston, and the Raptors. So that's a pretty good achievement. I think he's at about 28 wins over the playoffs in those years. He's a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year. Obviously, the first time when they went 62-20, he went 62-20 with the Phoenix Suns. An overall record, he has a 672 win and 527 losses at 56%. But most importantly, what does it mean for Houston moving forward? Well, it means a couple of things. 1, what does it look for James Harden and Russell Westbrook? I mean, the Rockets, I said in yesterday's episode, gave up Clint Capella, right, to essentially bring in, Russell Westbrook and to bring in Covington to support Westbrook and Harden. And in my eyes, I truly don't, and I disagreed with it. We obviously know that in the regular season it worked wonders, but we know that the regular season doesn't mean anything. As you can tell, the Denver Nuggets are handling their business against the LA Clippers. But let's just get something straight here. When it comes to the playoffs, for Houston to take the next step, even though I really think the Lakers will win it this year, next season, with the 2 superstars they do have, that doesn't mean that they can't win any games. It just means the pieces around them need to be a little bit bigger in size. And the reason for that is because obviously come playoff basketball, you're getting out-rebounded down the court, you're getting out-defended, you're getting out-blocked, your turnovers are higher. We saw the Lakers make big changes to the lineup. And I forgot to mention that in yesterday's video, and I do apologize for that. Lakers made severe changes to their lineup, bringing in Markieff Morris. Obviously, on-the-fly adjustments that the Lakers did that, Kuzma and Caruso's defense was fantastic against the Rockets. It's not just all about offense, right? Houston Rockets are not bad defensive team, and they did show that leading into, obviously, the Lakers game, but they got blown out majority of the games, and unlike the Clippers, the Lakers held on to their leads and made sure to punish Houston. Obviously, Denver, I think, is a little bit more talented. They've got Jokic and Murray and a few other players that can make a huge difference. But as we can see that in the playoffs, you need a big center, and PJ Tucker ain't going to cut it. fantastic player, probably a fantastic human being. But the honest thing is that you need to get real. And the Houston Rockets moving forward really need to think through their decisions. There are also some coaches that I think they should be looking at or could be looking at. Some of the best coaches out there at the moment. Obviously, we've got Tyrone Lue, Jay Kidd. Obviously, he's with the Lakers now as an assistant, which can prevail if they win the championship. He's been highly sorted already throughout the season, but he's also been recommended by Jeff Vogel continuously. I think that'll be a big loss for the Lakers if they did lose Jay Kidd, if we do win the title. Jeff Van Gundy, obviously, going back to Houston. Steve Van Gundy, possibly. David Yoye, Udoka, Brent Brown, and Billy Donovan. I do probably see a Brent Brown or Billy Donovan heading over to Houston, unless Brett Brown takes the Australian coaching job a little bit more serious. Truth is, they've lost Mike D'Antoni. They've got two ball-dominant stars. Can they set up something like Portland has with CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard? But obviously they have some big bodies in there too that can make a difference in Whiteside Nurse. So at the end of the day, I think Rockets really need to consider a lot of things, and they really need to see what's out there to add to the pieces. Maybe Covington has to, trade off Covington. Do you trade off Westbrook? And you're probably thinking, how can you say trade off Westbrook? It's done wonders. He didn't really perform. So let's just be honest, this hasn't been a really good year for Westbrook or the Rockets. As much as people think, it worked well, and it did work well in the regular season, I don't think it's been successful at all. I think the move, even though we know Mike D'Antoni has been rejecting an extension and the Houston Rockets wanting to stay on board, we knew this was eventually going to happen. So obviously, I think his run there ended, and he's 69 years old at the moment. So I think the next job he wants is maybe not a development one, probably let's go in. He's going to sign a 3-4 year contract. He's going to be in his late 70s. Let's get straight. Popovich is still going, but Mike D'Antoni's had some few health scares over the years. So be interesting to see what happens moving forward. All right, guys, let's move on now to Denver versus the Clippers in Game 6. Obviously, Denver coming back with a 35-point turnaround, winning 111-98. What did I say about the Clippers yesterday? Maybe you need to go back and check out last episode. They can't keep doing these mistakes. They are being busted. They are being found out early. They can't do this. If they win Game 7 against Denver on Wednesday or Tuesday, US time, Wednesday, Australian Eastern Standard Time, let's get something straight here. You blow a 35, at one point, Denver were up by 18 points. 18 points. The Clippers were up by 18 points at one point. And it was 73-55 with Kawhi Leonard hitting 2 free throws. And then up the court, Jokic scored. I'm pretty sure you guys can correct me on that. You're up. You're leading the half by 16. At one point in the third, you're up by 18 with about 8 minutes to go. And you lose? At one point, Denver were up by 16. It was a 35-point turnaround. The Clippers, stop. Clipper fans need to stop. You need to understand something here. The Los Angeles Lakers, and you're probably thinking, why are you talking about the Lakers? You want to come up against the Los Angeles Lakers with this one of the best records in the NBA this season. You want to come up against the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Finals to make it to the NBA Finals for your first ever NBA Finals appearance, but you keep losing leads to the Denver Nuggets. Denver's a great team. And I remember saying yesterday, I was speaking about, who I wanted the Lakers to match up with, and I think the Houston Rockets was the best possible solution. I accidentally spoke about the Utah Jazz when I should have spoken about OKC. But let's get something straight here. Los Angeles Clippers are getting let off because they're lucky they're not playing against Utah. And I'll tell you where the problems are. This is my belief where the problems are, right? I think it's the rotation for the Clippers. I think their lineup is causing issues for them. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George showed up in Game 6. Both scoring combined for over 60 points. That doesn't matter. It's the rest of the team, right? Harrell is getting thrown out the game basically because of the pick and roll offense that they're running. Kind of like Stockton and Malone, even though Jokic can go out to the three. Obviously, Zubac can't really, follow him around and defend him very well. 2 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks for Zubac. I'm sorry. I know you're not really part of the offense, but what the hell is going on in Clipperland? You want to come up against the Lakers, ain't going to happen. This fairy tale dream, you ain't going to be nothing. Simple as that. Just because, not because I'm a Lakers fan, but of moments like this. This could be a learning curve for the Clippers, but I kind of resemble the Clippers that first season LeBron went to Miami and they got busted out by Dallas. This is why I think the Los Angeles Lakers will win the NBA championship. Because of moments like this. You cannot come up against Lakers, Boston, or even Miami, even Toronto themselves, if you're going to play basketball like this. There's something going on in Clipperland. I don't know if it's mentally, there's something up with them, right? Because the Clippers shot, 4 or 15 in the second half. They only scored 35 points in a 35-point turnaround by the Denver Nuggets. And I don't want to take any away from Denver, though, because they're proving us wrong. And we need to understand that. We need to comprehend that they are proving us wrong. And I am more scared as a Lakers fan to come up against Denver than to come up against the Clippers. Because you can tell the Clippers are a lot weaker in here than what the Denver Nuggets are. You can't let off like that, especially in the playoffs. So maybe it is the bubble that's affecting them. But the Lakers are going strong. Denver's going strong. What's going on with Clipperland? Patrick Beverley. They've got this person. They've got that person. Yep. And this is where I see something magical happening with the Denver Nuggets with future-wise and also with the Lakers in comparison to the Clippers, is that they are continuously improving. The Nuggets and the Lakers, Miami, Boston, some of these teams other than the Clippers are continuously improving. Because as soon as the Clippers get up, the Clippers, you saw it through the regular season. Going back-to-back losses, certain things like that. I don't think they're learning. And part of being a contender and part of the process of success is learning amongst that journey that you're on towards your destination. The Lakers lose game 1 of both series, come back stronger, win 4 games in a row. That means they learn from their mistakes and progress. They don't regress like the Clippers are. Clippers need to look at themselves in the mirror and say, hey, what on earth is going on? And I'm going to tell you this. As much as Doc Rivers is a good coach, I think he's completely overrated. Now that you might sound, that is disrespectful. He won an NBA championship. One. Even though Frank Vogel hasn't won an NBA championship, I get that. Mike Malone hasn't won an NBA championship as a coach. I get that. Mike D'Antoni hasn't won an NBA hasn't won an NBA championship. I get that. This isn't what I'm talking about. Second year of Boston Celtics, big three. Obviously, they lost, Kevin Garnett or Ray Allen in the playoffs. They didn't make it to the NBA Finals. Orlando did. Obviously, they beat the Lakers. Lost to the Orlando Magic in the conference semifinals in the next year. I remember Paul Pierce hitting that shot in Orlando. For people who haven't, go check it out. And then the following year after that, they make it to the NBA Finals. So he has been in a couple of NBA Finals, but other than that, he hasn't done shit for the past how many years? Even with the Clippers. Are we seeing this now? A completely overrated Clippers team? I believe so. And I'll tell you why. Because Lakers are a dynasty. They're royalty. They're one of the best franchises in sports. Clippers, man, you need to go call yourself something else. Don't be part of Los Angeles. Because if you can't bust up Denver, you ain't going to be able to bust up the Lakers. And that's the truth. So I hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from. And I'd like to show you some stuff that highlights what Denver has done. The Denver Nuggets can become the first team ever in NBA history if they win this series to come back from 3-1. Just in case, let's not get ahead of ourselves because the Clippers can still win if they show some resilience and learn from their mistakes. Told you about turnovers, told you how they don't handle the rock, told you how they can't close out games. I know the truth. Nuggets are the first team in NBA history to play 4 straight 7-game series in the playoffs, obviously 2 last year and 2 this year. Clippers are also 0-7 going into clinching a place in the conference finals. Even if they win, they're 1-7. What does that mean? This team ain't as good as you think it is. I call the Clippers phony. And they are. And that's the truth. Maybe if they watch this, which will never get out there to them, but they've got a great team, step it up, learn from the mistakes, or else you ain't going to win. Yeah. Now, guys, look, thank you so much for allowing me to rant about the Clippers. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. I love you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll catch you on during the week. Peace.